Goals was never going to be easy down at that open end. You know, so what was it like playing in that really strong wind?
Yeah, it's always a tough away day, Hull, I think, and I think they are, you know, they're a good side this year. But for me personally, I think that they'd just be all excuses just to, you know, blame wind and all that. I think on the actual, it comes down to it. I just think they were better than us on the day, and you know, we've got to take that on the chin. You know, because excuses like that, you know, are not going to help us. So I think, you know, we've got to just be a lot better and learn from it, really.
Yeah, because there was a lot of honest talking from what we're being told on the Monday, and certainly coming out at Wakefield, do you think that the things you'd highlighted and addressed were put well into place against Wakefield?
Yeah, there was not. It wasn't too much of a detailed review. Like, we weren't kind of fixing a lot of things up. It was, we just felt we was physically a little bit off, and it doesn't matter who you play, if you're not quite there at the start of games, it's very hard to wrestle it back, or it makes it difficult to wrestle it back. And we got to remember, Hull is a really tough away fixture on the calendar at the best of times. I think when you put it as your home game, you've just properly hit out the kind of atmosphere they'd built up and how much importance they'd put on the game. It was always going to be a difficult fixture, but it is still disappointing. And yeah, the lads, it's easy when you've got a group of lads got all their hand up and say, hey, I need to do this better, I need to do that better. It makes our job easier, and we just went and worked on that the following week, and they did it a lot better.
In that game, Toby, I thought you did a superb pass out to Bevan French. How good did that feel?
Yeah, it's pretty quick, Bevan, in it, so I think my job this year is just to try and get him some ball in space, and I think he'll do the rest. But yeah, like I say, I don't think it'll mean much if we have a good performance on Friday against Casford, so we've got to be, you know, have a really good game there. Otherwise, it's just not, because not taking anything away from our performance, but I don't think Wakefield will, you know, like tested us that much. So yeah, I think it's going to be, we've got to be right at the races on Friday.
How good did it feel, Jake, still on that game? 60-0, but at the end, you know, they were on our line, referee looked after them for keeping them there, so we had a few sets of 6 to defend, and yet we still wanted to keep them out. How good was that?
Yeah, really good feeling. You know, I think that just shows the character of the route we've got. You know, the pride in his defence, and like I say, 60-0, there's probably an opportunity to go a bit easier in a sense, and potentially concede a try or two, but like I said, you know, the pride in his D is what's most important, and like I said, to keep him at nil, really proud.
In both games, Sean, we sort of scored a lot of tries because of the kick over and breaking down that defensive line. How good is that going to be? Because it goes without saying we're lightish in the pack compared to some of them. I mean, you saw Vetted the other day. I mean, next to with some of our players. But how good will that be for when we, you know, just want to get the dry pitch and kick over the top, break down that defensive line?
Yeah, we've not got kind of big heavy middles. We've got some size about us in the pack. We've got some big lads, but they're pretty mobile and athletic, and they move well. So it's hammering the front door down on teams. Although they probably come on the back and moving the ball, and when fatigue comes into it, but kind of our assets, especially with the 2 lads we've got this year, bringing in like 2 out-and-out centres, classy centres who have grown up in that position. They know how to play it. They can put the wingers away. We've had some good blocks in the centre in the past, but I think we've not had kind of people who that is their out-and-out job, that is their out-and-out position of what they do. I think it makes a big difference with lads that have done it for a long time. Even down the junior ranks, they've played that. They've mastered the craft there. And yeah, we've got 2 lads in there, and there's no kind of secret. We've got wheels in our team, so it's kind of, we've got fast blocks on edges and then the back. So playing fast is something we always push. We train like that. We try to emulate that as much as we can in training, and hopefully that speed of the way we're playing, pass and kick and whatever it is, and chase the ball, that kind of exhausts teams, and we come out the other end in better shape than they do.
So Jake, Toby mentioned there about Bevan and his pace. You've got a fair bit of pace yourself from what I've seen playing elsewhere and already what you played at Wigan. But how good is it when you see Liam, take to his heels and shoot off? He's got like two legs that go like little pistons along, don't they?
Yeah, obviously it's really good. Like Tom said, the back five, to be honest, we've all got a bit of pace about us, so yeah, it's quite a scary proposition for teams, to be honest. I think my job in this team is just, like I say, just give it Marshy and hopefully he's got his legs will do the job.
Terrific, man. So we've already mentioned where we're going on Friday, Castleford. How tough do you think that's going to be? It's a very intimidating ground. What's it like when you've got the crowd on your back?
It's quite a hostile place, obviously. Getting abuse from people who are 5 metres away from you. So it's obviously something we've got to deal with, and we've just got to focus on what we can control, and hopefully stick to the plan and come away with a win.
How's it been for you when you've played at Castleford? Have you felt the same, Toby? The crowd really giving you grief?
Yeah, the crowd definitely get on your back, and it can influence the game sometimes. Referee gets involved and stuff and that, so it does make it a hostile environment.
Do you think that sort of like still doing comparisons Hull KR and Wakefield, we gave quite a number of penalties away in the Hull KR? Do you think we've got on top of that and discipline's a bit better?
Hopefully. I think there's always that bedding period at the start of games of refs setting their standards out of what they want, and the lads kind of pushing it and testing it and what they can get away with. So the refs are finding their form at the start of the year as well. So there's always a little bit of inconsistency goes on before they settle down, and they have different interpretations on stuff and what is going to be a quick play or what's a slow one. So they do come in, they spend a bit of time here and talk us through any changes they have brought in. But it's still once the season starts, there is always that period. But penalty now is caution. We know that, and it's something we always reflect on and chat about after games at Gwinnett. We don't like to kind of talking about it too much, because there's a balance between when we attack, we want to take opportunities, and we don't want to. As I said, we spoke early on. We've got a fast back, so we don't want to get bogged down playing one out rugby. If we have made errors, we still want to be able to kind of pass the ball and move it when we feel we can do. So we don't want to error, but we don't want errors to kind of restrict the way we play either.
We also seem to cut out a lot of, in the Hull KR game, a lot of offloads were going on. We seem to be clamping the ball better. Was that another point we considered?
Offloads from us or offloads from them?
Offloads from the opposing team.
Yeah, a lot of it is individuals. They offload a lot. They've got players in there like he's just very good at it, and so you can't always stop him. You just more have to defend off the back of them. But it does make it difficult. I think the Salford game we played in with I think Toby had an handful of offloads in that game, and there's obviously always a slight risk of errors in there. But when you've got someone who can do it, and it's like having an extra couple of tackles sometimes in sets, so they do swing sets, and the big assets for you if you've got blokes in your team what do them. But yeah, from defenders' point of view, sometimes it's just more like, obviously if you can stop it, you stop it, but it's about the reaction to it and how you defend it off the back of it.
Great stuff. And just another thing that sort of has pleased me in the first couple of games is some of the set plays we seem to have from the scrum. We seem to be really trying to utilise the speed that we've got. Yeah,
the rest have made it. I can't remember the change. I don't know if they may have a change, but you can get penalties off scrums now if they're offside, where you couldn't last year. So they're going to be a bit stricter on the 10 being back. So it just gives our fast lads more opportunities to kind of chew the metres up. So yeah, Tommy's put a couple of players in the book for him there, and they went well in the first game. And it's something you tinker with all season, that teams do the review on you and watch you and see what you do, so they kind of know what's coming the next week. So it's kind of been one step ahead of them on that, and just changing things up every now and again.
Okay, and just sort of he's done a training session over at Shevington Sharks this week, and I believe that some were done last season. What's the psychology behind that?
I was at Windsor at the time.
Well, do you mean to tell me you weren't in any planning stage and you weren't? You just.
No, the chat around it was a little bit on our away form, because we obviously lost the first game, and going into Cass, it's another kind of tough away place to go. So it was just the planning into it was more about just taking the week session a little bit away from this place. It's quite comfortable for us here now, and we know where the week's going to run. So it was just keeping the lads on the toes a little bit, and just varying the week up, almost making it a little bit of a what's the word? A bit, not a distraction, but something that to
taking them out the comfort zone.
Yeah, but taking. It's only Chevy, it's not taking out the comfort zone. But it's
no, but it's a different ground.
Yeah.
You've just been bloody hard work there, haven't you?
It was more just that it weren't straightforward planning from. They had to kind of remember to take the boots here and do that, sort of a few things differently themselves, and hopefully that's just a little bit of different preparation from that they take into the Cass game. Chevy's miles better standard than Cass. It was.
Has it surprised you how quickly the likes of Wakefield and Castleford have brought in ground improvements? They're doing ground improvements since IMG got involved.
They've been doing it for 20 years. They're always doing ground improvements. Wakefield actually are, though, and not to stand down.
I mean, to knock a stand down actually in the season was quite dramatic, weren't it?
That's it, that's the improvement in not a stand down. Standing on and...
You know, you've got feisty you since you got that Orbit in. You're not as controllable as you used to be. So I'm coming back to you two lads now, because he's going hard work, so I'll ask both of you. You mentioned doing your debut for the team, but how good was it doing a home debut?
Yeah, just an amazing feeling, to be honest. Obviously, it was my first proper taste of the home fans. Obviously, played in Power's testimonial, but obviously to get the crowd we got against Wakefield, it's something that I'm really looking forward to doing more often.
Dalton, and how did yours go, Toby?
Yeah, really enjoyed it. Like Jet said, the fan, I think it was over 12,000, I think, there. So 28, is that all they brought? Oh. Yeah, well, it's what a good away atmosphere then from them. But yeah, no, the atmosphere were class. So I'm looking forward to more games because they've got a really good home record here as well. So it's obviously why they play so well. Just because how good the fans are getting behind the team at home.
Great stuff. And just in closing, I'll ask all three of you this. We've had Sky coverage for more years than imaginable. Well, the World Cup was covered by the BBC, national TV, and we've got coverage by Channel 4. How refreshing are you finding it with the national TV coverage? And how good is it for the game that it's out there for everybody?
Yeah, Channel 4, like I say, has been a breath of fresh air. I don't know what you guys think. Yeah, it's really good. I think the commentators do really well on there, and the people who get in. Adam Hills, he comes in, doesn't he, and jumps on there. I think it's been class. Yeah. I think the main thing. Yeah, I think it's with the Sky brings so much money into it. So I think that's where it's a tough subject in it, because we sort of need to keep Sky for the money, really.
Yeah, I think obviously, the more channels we can get with beyond the better. I think obviously the more we can get the game publicised to more people, hopefully it's going to help grow the game. Like I say, I think Channel 4's been, as I've said, that breath of fresh air, and yeah, like I say, I think more channels we can get on the better.
Cracking. Of course I want you to do it, you're not getting out of it.
I think they've said the main points is in Sky pay the most money, so they're the most important. But I think having it on terrestrial television, it's all terrestrial. Yeah. Having on free.
If you can say it, terrestrial.
Having on normal telly. Having on normal telly, it gets more eyes on the sport, so people recognise the lads more. That grows the sport. What money can't buy, really. So they're both massively important. But I do think the more competition with IMG coming in now, the better. So they can hopefully see what viewing Channel 4 are getting, they can see what BBC are getting, and they can go down the route of offering more games out to more channels and more money coming in.
How strong do you think, there's a lot of streaming now, how good is that for raising the profile of the game?
Yeah, Amazon, they stream some Premier League games, and I'm sure IMG are a massive company. I'm sure that's on the radar to take it to places like Netflix and Prime and Amazon. And it is all about kind of generating money and getting eyes on the sport for growth. So I do feel like some of the questions, like speaking to Rads, he's involved heavily with discussions what's going on. He says like they seem like the real deal, and there's been promises in the past of where they're taking it and what they're doing, but Rad seems like it's on a good path at the minute.
He said that to us, but I mean, over a couple of weekends we've got the rugby union got his tournament going, and I kind of watched some of the games and I thought it's very much back to the kick. Where we had a phase of it where it seemed to pick up a lot of the rugby league moves and better tackling and that. But just what I watched at weekend, I thought, how can anybody watch this and not league?
And I think everyone agrees we've got a great sport, but it's remained kind of a hidden gem from our point of view. So it's not going to explode overnight. So I think it's a slow process of competing more and more a union, and obviously the more people see it and compare a union, you don't more start swinging towards us.
So I think that's been a really good night. The lads have been brilliant. Jake, you improved as you went along, lad. Got colour in your cheeks now. By the time you come again, you'll be getting as cheeky and facetious as Lockers is. But we need you to draw the raffle for us now. But I'd just like to ask you, if you see us putting posts on Facebook or in talking to people who don't know what the Riverside is about, will you please tell them and to ask them to come along, see what we do, see what you lads give us, and let's just try and get our supporters' numbers up again, because the COVID era did blight us, and like you say, Sean, people are a little bit wary, a little bit reticent about coming back and getting involved in things. So anything you can do for us by retweeting on Twitter and that, we'd be well glad of.